All right, let's talk about something that's really changing the game in agriculture: drip irrigation. And look, this is way more than just a fancy way to water your plants. It's a whole new strategy for growing healthier, more productive crops. So, here's what we're going to cover today. We'll start with a hidden enemy that a lot of growers don't even realize they're helping. Then we'll dive into the solution: precision irrigation. After that, we'll see how it's a delivery system for so much more than water, learn how to keep it running for years, and finally, take a little peek into the future of farming.
First up, the war against fungus. Now, it sounds kind of weird, right? How can watering your plants be bad for them? Well, if you're doing it the old-fashioned way, you might actually be rolling out the red carpet for some really nasty crop-destroying diseases.
You know, it all really just comes down to where that water ends up. The whole point is to get water to the roots, but a lot of traditional methods end up creating the perfect, damp little home for the plant's worst enemies to thrive. And this slide really nails the core problem. Think about sprinklers. They just drench everything, right? The leaves, the stems, the ground. But what the plant actually wants, what it needs, is moist soil and dry leaves, because wet leaves, they're basically a playground for pathogens.
And get this, there's a ticking clock. It's called the 6-hour rule. That's it. Just 6 hours of a leaf being wet is all it takes for a fungal spore to wake up, germinate, and start an infection. So if you water in the evening, by morning, the attack could already be well underway. It's that fast.
Okay, so now that we know the danger, let's talk about the solution. This is where it gets good. We're talking about a much smarter way to water that just completely changes the game.
And right off the bat, here's the number that gets everyone's attention. We're talking about saving 30 to 50% of your water. How? Well, by putting every single drop of water exactly where it needs to go, right at the root zone. You cut out almost all the waste from evaporation and runoff. It's just incredibly efficient.
But honestly, it goes so much farther than just saving water. You're also protecting your topsoil from washing away. You stop fertilizers from running off into our groundwater. And because these systems use low pressure, you save a ton on energy. Oh, and here's a bonus. By keeping the soil between your crop rows dry, you're literally starving the weeds. And this brings us right back to our first point. This is the ultimate defense. Drip irrigation completely solves that wet leaf problem we talked about. You're creating an environment that gives the plant everything it needs, while giving those nasty fungal pathogens absolutely nothing. It's not just watering, it's like preventative medicine for your farm. Okay, so this is where things get really cool. This is where drip irrigation stops being just a tool and becomes a truly revolutionary platform. Think about it. Your irrigation lines aren't just for water. They're a high-precision delivery network for basically anything your plants could ever need. And that brings us to this idea called fertigation. It's an absolute game changer. Instead of just throwing fertilizer out there and hoping for the best, you're spoon-feeding your plants the exact nutrients they need, right at their roots, at the exact moment they need them. That means less waste and much, much healthier plants.
And the process itself is really simple. First, you run clean water for a bit just to get the pressure all nice and stable. Then you inject your nutrient mix. And this last step is super important. You finish by flushing the whole system with clean water again. That makes sure all the food gets to the plants and doesn't just sit in the lines causing clogs.
But why stop with fertilizer? Why not use that same system to deploy a microscopic army to defend your plants from the ground up? And this is where something like trichoderma comes in. It's one of the good fungi. You can actually send it right down your drip lines. It sets up shop in the root zone and acts like a bodyguard, actively fighting off the bad fungi. Plus, it helps the roots grow stronger and even improves the soil. It's amazing stuff.
Look, a drip system is a big investment. You want it to last. And just like any other important piece of farm equipment, how long it lasts and how well it works comes down to one simple thing: routine maintenance.
Let's just be real for a second. The biggest headache with any drip system is the risk of clogging. You've got minerals, a little bit of algae, maybe some sediment that can block up the emitters over time. But here's the thing. This isn't some fatal flaw. It's totally preventable with a little bit of proactive care.
And a schedule like this shows you just how manageable it is. Seriously, a quick check of your filters once a week, flushing the lines once a month, and then a good deep clean when the season's over. That's pretty much it. This simple routine is the secret to a system that will work perfectly for years and years. And this is the payoff, right? This is why you do it. The reward isn't just having clean pipes. It's a beautiful, high-quality harvest, like these durians you see here. That's the difference between a system that sputters along and one that delivers amazing results, season after season. So what's next? Where does this all go from here? Well, drip irrigation isn't the final step. It's actually the foundation for creating what we call biosecure farming environments. These are systems designed to completely eliminate pathogen risks, which is absolutely critical for high-value export crops.
We're already seeing amazing advances. Things like burying the drip lines so the soil surface stays bone dry, no evaporation and no weeds. People are using ozonated water or even UV light to sterilize the water itself, making sure not a single pathogen even gets into the system to begin with. We're talking about total environmental control.
So, at the end of the day, it really all boils down to this one question. Every drop of water you use is doing one of two things. It's either helping your crops or it's helping their enemies. With precision irrigation and some smart management, you can finally make sure every single drop is fighting on your side.